So this was my crash damaged BMW M135 straight out of Copart. Once we received the vehicle, trailered it back home and assessed the damage. So complete front end was non-existent. Everything was damaged from the rims, radiators. We even had a bit of suspension damage as well. Front crash bar, all of the plastic trims, headlights, you name it. If it was in the front, it was damaged or non-existent. So first things first, we needed to grab a key so we could get in and out the vehicle, and then started stripping away at all the bits and pieces that were damaged. So once we got all of that off, it was time to start cleaning the M135. So this glue needed to come off, and a bit of water had gotten into the passenger seat, so got that cleaned as well. And then we bought a second BMW 1 Series M Sport. So this was going to be our donor car, getting all of the parts necessary of this one onto the M135 as well, which just made a lot of sense. This had everything we needed, so we got all of this off, stripped the car to the bone, and popped that on the M135. Now there were quite a couple of mechanical and electrical parts that we couldn't get off the donor car, so we had to go out and buy them brand new, get them fitted. Tried it for its first start, so it did start officially. Very happy with that. So now it was just time to piece everything back together, get some coolant in the car, and then take it out for its first drive. So this is where we're currently at, this is where we're sitting. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, so the plan of action for today is to get the M135 wrapped up, done and dusted, ready to hit the road. So next we're going to be tackling the curtain airbags, and then just making sure everything else is tightened up on the front end, i.e. the front bump, all the grills, everything like that. So stay tuned and let's go. Now the headlights were quite a nice fit, especially into the wings, so we got those fitted on, then a couple of foam pieces and the grills for the radiators, so everything's coming together quite nicely. So first things first, let's get that front bumper back on the M135. Now, because I was so excited in the moment to get this bumper straight on the M135, I forgot to actually record the whole scene, but as you can see here, we are roughly adjusting it, but it is looking good so far. Now that the bumper is nicely fitted onto the M135, I just want to get those curtain airbags in, so stay tuned and let's get that done. So currently the curtain airbags have been tucked back in nicely here, but we need to get this roof lining down, get the curtain airbags drilled out. I do believe they are pop rivets, so we'll need to get them drilled out, get the old ones out, get the new ones in, pop rivet them in, and then plug them in. That should then get rid of the passenger warning light. I do believe it could also be due to the seatbelt buckle, but I'm hoping it's just the curtain airbags. If not, we'll have to get these ones changed too, but they do still work, and the seatbelt is still at least loosened up, so it hasn't tensioned up. So let's get these curtain airbags sorted out. Now, because both curtain airbags decided to deploy, we thought it would be best to get the entire roof lining off. Now this meant stripping everything from your sun visors, all the handles, interior lighting both front and middle, rear boot, trims, you name it, everything that was connected essentially to the roof lining had to come off. So once we had them all stripped out and everything nice and loose, we could finally see the deployed curtain airbags. Now, majority of the airbag itself was actually just clip-ons, but right at the gas canister where it does explode from, that did have pop rivets. So we first had to drill out the old pop rivets, unclip everything, clip the new one in, and then actually pop rivet the actual gas canister part where there is an electrical little connector in, to then tell the car that the airbag hasn't deployed and it is a new one, does register to the car. So once we had that all in place, it was just time to clip it back in and put everything back together. Now, once both curtain airbags were back into place, it was time to put the roof lining and all the sun visor, all the handle trims, you name it, from the interior lighting to the boot trims as well, plastic trims, rubber trims, everything back together. Now this is a very tedious process, especially with the electrical items, because if you do forget to plug one of them in, you will have to then be forced to take everything back out, strip everything again and connect it properly. So as you can see, we started when it was daylight. Now it's night because there were a couple of electrical plugs we forgot to plug in. So word of advice, just make sure and double check that you plug everything in, otherwise you will be doing the job twice or 3 times over. So everything decided to fit nice and tug all together. So I'm very happy with how this came out. Of course, the roof lining just needs a bit of a wipe down, but all the trims, all the plastic trims, rubber trims are now in place, looking nice and neat.
Last but not least, it's to change over that old bonnet onto the new one. The bonnet is also painted with the bumper and the wings, so everything does match in terms of color wise. So we'll get the old bonnet removed. I've just been keeping it on there just to cover everything at the moment until we got the bonnet back. So we finally got the bonnet back, so we'll change the bonnet over, get everything aligned nicely, and then take it for its first drive.
Now it is finally time for us to get rid of this old damaged front bonnet and replace it with the newly fresh painted donor car bonnet. Of course, it's been stripped to bits so we could slap on that M135 paint on. So to put it on the car, it was just a couple of 13mm bolts on either side, and then we had to start the process of either aligning it to both wings and the front bumper and then start putting everything back on it. Now, of course, the alignment won't be perfect at first time, so this is just the process of trying to align it all together. But before we even start on that, we are going to put the washer fluid pipe back in, so these two go to the little sprayers, and then of course the heat shield, just to keep the temperature nice and cool in the engine. Get that slapped onto the bonnet with a couple of plastic clips. Then next, it was just onto a couple of plastic trims that covered the fuse box and the positive terminal on the either sides of the M135 engine bay. So once we got these clipped in nicely, we could move then next onto the main rubber that sits onto the top bumper. Once that was all completed, it was just time to align the front bumper to the bonnet a little bit. I wasn't necessarily too stressed about alignment. I just wanted to get this bonnet on, get this car on the road and take it out for its first drive. So you can see the gaps aren't necessarily perfect. Of course, nothing's touching. That was my main priority, just so that I didn't chip away any paint. But other than that, I was really happy how the color came out. Everything is matching nice and clean. The front end is looking super clean, so I am really happy with how this came out. And yeah, just ready to whip on that number plate and take it out for its first drive. Now, last but not least, we had to finish everything off with putting on the engine cover that goes, of course, directly on top of the engine, covers everything on top, and it is looking nice and sweet.
Now that everything is put back together on the front end, the front bumpers on, grills are all in place, time to put on that final BMW badge. Alright guys, so now everything is finally fitted to the M135. I am super excited to get this thing on the road, take it out for its first drive. There are still a couple of little things that we need to sort out, but that's not a problem as long as it's on all fours and if I put my foot down, the car goes. So let's take it out for its first drive. guys, so check this M135 out. It is looking amazing. Of course, there's a couple of bits that we still need to adjust, i.e. the wings and all of that, but looking at this car as a whole, I'm so excited to show you guys what it finally looks like.
Now this beast looks amazing. So I've just put a couple of clips together so you guys can hear it roar. And just like that, the M135 is finally done and dusted, and I couldn't be happier with how it has turned out. I just wanted to take a moment to say a massive thank you to my dad. His help and knowledge through this whole process has been unbelievable. He's been there every step of the way, and I honestly couldn't have done this without him. A huge thank you as well to my amazing wife. She's put up with endless car talk, time spent in the garage, and has supported me through it all, so I appreciate you so much. And of course, to my family and friends, thank you for every message, every bit of support. It has really made this journey even more special. But for now, it's time to enjoy the car and bring you guys a load more content. So if you've made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. More to come, and I'll see you in the next one.
Now that the M135 is officially done and dusted, running nicely, of course I'll be using it as a daily just to make sure everything is all sweet as a nut. We are going to the Nürburgring. It's a boss. Well, that's not good. Okay, I wanted to already make the car into another video.